Vice President Joe Biden. Here he is. Hello, Mr. Vice President. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Thanks for having me again.
You too.
Good to be home.
Good to be home. Okay, you've got 2 minutes. You can sit or you can stand. You can do whatever you want to do. Well, within reason, but you can. No. Oh, wow.
Am I supposed to say something right now? Folks,
2 minutes.
Look.
151.
Oh, 151. Oh, time's running out. Hey, folks, look, it's good to be back. I've had the chance to be with you all my whole career. You got me started. Hey, Jess, how are you? Got me started back in Delaware. I'm a lifetime member. I got involved early on. When I got back from law school, my city was in flames because of Dr. King being assassinated. I became a public defender. I'd been working with the NAACP then and now. And, there's an old expression, y'all brought me to the dance. And I'm still dancing with you. The fact of the matter is that there's a lot at stake. We're really in a battle for the soul of the country right now. And we have a president who's done everything to divide us, to split us apart, and this is not who we are as a nation. We've never fully lived up to the notion, we the people, or we hold these truths self-evident, but we've never abandoned them before. And this president has abandoned them. And the single most important thing we have to do for all I want to do, from criminal justice reform to education, to a whole range of issues from global warming on, is nothing happens unless we defeat Donald Trump, flat out. That's number one. Number two, it seems to me that we also want to make sure that, we're in a position where we have there's no one solution to any of the problems that exist in the systemic racism that is here. I did a lot of work here in Detroit, 26 seconds left. The president put me in charge of getting Detroit back on its feet. I was able to cherry pick the best administration. We came in and we dealt with the problems. And one of the things we found out is that there's nothing the community cannot do given half a chance. And that's what this is all about. I'm happy to answer your questions, and I'll get off of here.
Come on, Mr. Vice President. Come on.
Want me here?
Yes, sir. I would like you here.
All right.
Former Vice President Biden, the last time I saw you was 2017. We received our honorary doctorates together at Morgan State University. Remember that?
Right.
That's right.
And I got to be the speaker at Morgan.
You got to be the speaker. And with that, what is the importance to you of HBCUs? And what would you do if you are made president of the United States?
I would fund HBCUs.
Look, how would you fund them?
Everybody has to understand, this is the only audience that understands it, but I've been deeply involved with HBCUs from the very beginning of my career. Delaware State University, the best HBCU in the country.
You're going to get in trouble now.
I know that. I know.
You're going to get in real trouble.
All kidding aside, that's where I got started. I wouldn't have been elected president, I wouldn't have been elected senator. And I won't get elected president without them either, but I wouldn't get elected senator because I got engaged early on in the civil rights movement in my state. No great shakes, but I'd start off in black churches, and we'd go from there to desegregate movie theaters. I was no great leader. I was just a kid who worked in the East Side, and then in college got a lot of support from Delaware State University. And so I think, remember, they were put in place because of systemic racism. That's why they're there. And I think we have an obligation. They're really in tough economic times right now, and that's why the President and I, Obama and I, when we were in office, we spent a lot of time and money in bringing programs to HBCUs. I think we should be spending $500 million over time to do with them just what we're doing with community colleges. But I'll get to that if you want me to go into any detail.
Well, you're on the clock. We got a lot more questions for you. So you launched your new criminal justice plan.
Yep.
Can you explain your evolution since the 1994 crime bill?
Well, by the way, let's get straight with what the 1994 crime bill was. 1994 crime bill, we had a gigantic epidemic in America of violence, particularly in African-American communities. Now, Jesse and I disagree a little bit in this, but in my community, the notion was overwhelmingly supported. It was supported by the Black Caucus in the United States Senate, by and large.
Some members.
The majority supported it. The majority supported it, and black mayors supported it. But here's the deal. What happened is we lost the election 2 years later, and we're unable to, every major initiative needs to be reformed. And we have now a systemic problem and too many African Americans in jail right now. So I think we should shift the whole focus from what we're doing in terms of incarceration to rehabilitation. I think we should be in a situation where anybody convicted of a drug crime, in fact, goes before the drug courts that I set up. We should fund it $400 million a year. I don't think anybody should go to jail because of a drug crime. I don't think, unless they're a major seller or dealer. The fact of the matter is, I also think we should be having in prisons, education programs in prison. No, I really mean it, because look, the whole idea is when we let somebody out of prison, we want them to be engaged in the community. Don't just give them $25 and a bus ticket. They should be entitled to housing, they should be entitled to Pell Grants, they should be, every single thing, including restoring their right to vote. It's about getting them back engaged in the community. There's much more, but...
Yeah, we only have a little bit of time. All right. Is your time in the Obama administration an asset or a crutch as you seek to run on your own as President of the United States?
It's not a crutch. You asked President Obama. I didn't need any crutch, although, as Trump says, he dragged me off the scrap heap, as Trump says it. But look, the fact of the matter is, this is not a continuation of our administration. What it is there's new problems. There's new problems we face today that were different than the ones we faced at the time. But the fact of the matter is, he's a close friend. I'm very proud to have served with him. And I might add, if he thought it was good enough for me they did a significant background check on me for months with 10 people. I doubt whether he would have picked me if this accusations about my being wrong on civil rights was correct.
If elected president, you would have to correct the atrocities of the current immigration process as it pertains to the southern border. How would you handle the course corrections?
Real quickly, dreamers would automatically be American citizens. They're already American citizens, number one. Number two, we need rational border security. We have a right to secure our border. We should do that with modern technology. We have not building walls and doing what we're doing now. Thirdly, I would surge to the border significant number of additional judges for asylum. I would change the president's asylum rule. I would lift the Muslim ban. I would do a whole range of things. But here's the deal. We have 11 million undocumented people in the United States of America. I provide a path to citizenship. So on day one when I get elected, if I'm elected, if you choose to elect me, on day one I will introduce a major reform of the entire immigration system, because that's what's made us who we are. That's who we are.
In 139, you know this is 400 years since first slaves were brought to this nation from Africa. What would be your Africa policy? And I want you to talk about the disparity between Haiti and Cuba. How would you fix that when it comes to asylum seekers from both nations?
I would provide asylum from both seekers. When we were in office, you remember what we did was a major initiative in African countries. The point is, people don't understand, it is a burgeoning continent. It provides for an incredible opportunity for the world and for the people in those communities. That's why I visit almost every African country. And the point is, it's not a charity case. It's about growing with them. We should be there. China's in there full bore. The Russians are in there full bore. We should be engaged. And that's why I got so deeply involved in the anti-apartheid movement when Reagan was president. We have to demonstrate who we are as a nation. And that's why Barack focused on African countries in order to bring not just them along, but us along with them. Great economic opportunity for both of us.
Mr. Vice President, but what about Haiti and Cuba, just once again?
Haiti and Cuba, I would provide for the access to the United States of America for those people who are seeking refuge, as asylum.
So it would be no different?
Or no, I find no difference.
All right, well, you've got time for your closing. I know it, Rand, I know.
Oh, okay. Folks, look.
He wants to stay.
I do want to stay. I'm used to coming here a long time. Folks, look. We have an opportunity to change the landscape of what's going on in America. But the first thing we have to do, state the obvious, is get rid of Donald Trump. But the second thing is we have to understand that this is about whether the African American community does well depends on how well America does. And we are, no, I'm not being solicitous. I'm being deadly earnest. Deadly earnest. What we have to do is make sure that we challenge. That's why I triple funding for Title I schools. There's not a thing a kid in an African American community can't learn that a white kid in a rich community can't learn. We should challenge people. That's why we should have preschool, 3, 4, and 5 years old. Everybody. We know the numbers. If people from poor communities go to school 3, 4, and 5, they have more than a 50% chance of graduating from high school, staying out of trouble, being engaged in profitable undertakings. We should make community college free. We should be in a, and by the way, that's only $6 billion to get every single solitary person qualified for community college, cutting in half the cost of college. We should be supporting HBCUs because they are the rock bed of where people, in fact, get started here. And the other thing is, folks, on the environment. If you look at the environment, the people who are killed by the environment are people in poor communities, like in my city, where the smokestacks are dropping on them, where they're flooding on them. We are not paying nearly as much attention. And all the way back to 1986, you check Real Politics, you know, the fact check. I introduced the first initiative that made a difference in terms of climate change. We must focus on here and up the road in Flint. We should be replacing all those pipes. What is the matter with us? South Carolina, we have the capacity to do all of this. I got 6 seconds left. Just let me say, I love you. Look me over. I need your help. Thank you.
Vice President Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden.